Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FedEx Preview Show from Daytona.
Yeah.
A special show today. We'll catch up with Denny Hamlin a little bit later, but let's start off and review the clash. We've already had on-track action here at Daytona. A little bit of controversy at the end between Jimmy Johnson and Paul Menard. Paul's still a little chapped about it, but what's Marty's take on the clash?
It's funny. I talked to all the guys, and Kevin Harvick and I were talking about it a few minutes ago, and I really think these cars are just so hard to drive. I don't think it was really anybody's fault. I think that's just how it happens with these cars. And we heard Chase Elliott say after the wreck in practice earlier last week that these cars are kind of drawn to each other, actually. When you kind of go around someone, they kind of get sucked back to another car. I think it's going to make it very interesting for Sunday's race. It's going to be a lot warmer on Sunday. Cars are going to move around even more on Sunday for the Daytona 500. So I think it's just going to make for a very compelling race. And what seems to be in the final restrictor plate race, cars that are very hard to handle for the drivers, and that's going to make the drafting packs very interesting on Sunday.
All right, let's further that and talk about Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah.
They're on the pole for the 5th straight year, breaks a record for Cup Daytona 500 poles in organizations, streaking those together. They have the top 4 spots, but as we've seen over the past couple of years, they sacrifice a lot of drivability in those race cars for that pole speed.
Sure.
Is this the year that they figure it out and maybe put a little bit more drivability in there, or are we still going to see them struggle a little bit come race day?
I mean, you can certainly dial out a lot of downforce in these cars to make them faster by themselves, and you can fix a little bit of that when it comes to race time. But I honestly feel like that they don't have the experience among most of the drivers in Hendrick Motorsports. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, they're very experienced. But William Byron, Alex Bowman, they're still learning this craft. They're still learning how to draft. They're still learning what to do. Chevrolet struggles to work better together, and they've got to work better together as a group if they want to have success in the Chevrolet camp.
And Marty, you mentioned teams working together.
Yeah.
Toyota perfected that back in 2016 when Denny won that race. We got to catch up with Denny earlier and get his thoughts on the 2019 Daytona 500. What's your outlook here at Daytona? Obviously, when we talk favorites, your name always comes up. You're good here. You won this race in 16. So what do you expect to see, when we go green on Sunday?
Hopefully a great race. That's what everyone wants to see and what I want to see. But ultimately, I'd like to win no matter what race we have. And so, this victory lane is the one that I know exactly where it is the most with the 8 wins that we've had here at Daytona. Unfortunately, we're outnumbered by the other guys. We've set the blueprint out there for them in 2016 on how to work together, and they took our 4 cars and they upped us by about 10. So it does make it tough when you get all those guys committed, but certainly we put ourselves up front in the clash like I thought we would. And on Sunday, we'll have that same success.
Interesting stuff from Denny there. A lot of people think he's one of the favorites for this race.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to agree given his body of work here at Daytona.
Yeah, I think he's certainly one of the favorites. I think when you look at what I mentioned a moment ago about needing to dictate pace, needing to be aggressive, I think Denny is certainly one of the best ones at doing that, running up front, keeping your car up front. And he told me earlier today he thinks that's going to be more critical than ever. Running up front the entire day, knowing the pace and the energy of the packs, that's going to be very important on Sunday.
All right, who's your NASCAR Fantasy Live pick to win? Who's going to win the whole thing?
I'm going to go with Joey Logano. I think he comes off the championship with a lot of momentum. He told me he feels very confident about where he is with the 22 team. I think certainly they don't have a lot to lose. But I think when I think about the aggressive drivers, he's top of the list.
I think you're right to go with the Ford camp. I do think it's going to be Joey Logano's teammate, however, Brad Keselowski finally getting that win. I think Penske, regardless, starts the year off in a great way.
It could very well be. I do think it's a Ford that winds up in victory lane because I think they have so many numbers, it's just hard to beat the numbers they have.
It's the 61st running of the Daytona 500. That is February 17th, this Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox.